And we say good evening, welcome. We are live again at Champion Chevrolet for the Champion 5-Star Football Preview Show. Co-hosting, I'm yours truly, Tom Taylor, and he is
Dave Angie.
Dave Angie from the News and Neighbor, and ready to go. And of course, high school football's kind of fizzled out, unfortunately, in Northeast Tennessee. Only one still standing is Greenville and Anderson County. They're playing each other tomorrow night for the quarterfinals, I guess. Yeah, the quarterfinals. That'll be happening in Burley Stadium tomorrow night. I've seen both teams, 12-0 Greenville, 12-0 Anderson County. Tim Copenhagen and I feel like it may be, kind of for all intents and purposes, could be the state championship, much like Elizabeth and Alcoa was a year ago. And so Anderson County and Greenville, two good football teams. I saw them firsthand this year playing Elizabethton. And in fact, I ran into Coach Campbell a few minutes ago. We were at Chick-fil-A, one of our great sponsors, and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, Anderson County's pretty good, but I said, you still, at the end of the day, you're in Burley Stadium. Anderson County's got to travel on that bus. You get up there, there's something about Greenville and Cade Ballard, Mr. Football finalist. They've got their kid, Martin, the football finalist in Anderson County. But I think, at the end of the day, Greenville not only wins, but wins decisively. Greenville's got a good football team. Anderson County does too. But if you're asking me, I've got Greenville at home tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I would say that as well. I was curious to see how Anderson County would play, given the level of competition this year, which I didn't believe was as good as what Elizabethton had played. We talked about that a little bit last week, but they proved themselves. Now there's no question. I think it just adds to the hype and the anticipation for this game this week with Anderson County, because by beating Elizabethton and doing it the way they did, they've proven themselves. And, I think it'll be a game. It come down to the little things. It's going to be fun, but a lot of big plays. I think there's going to be a lot of big plays in this game. And it's, some games are close, competitive, hard fought, but they're not much fun to watch. I think this is going to be the opposite end. This is going to be pretty much a highlight reel, for the entire game, and it's going to be fun to see which team comes out on top. And I agree, whoever does, I think is the favorite to win a state championship.
Like us and share us is what we'd ask you to do. And again, we're getting ready to give you an opportunity. Let me do this right here. Show you coming up starting November the 27th. Here's a chance you win $100 cash and some other prizes. Doesn't start to November, but what we want you to do is to share or retweet our show, or my show, along with Dave co-hosting. And when you do, every time, look down here, every share or retweet is an entry. There's no limit on the number of entries you can make. And so, again, that starts on November the 27th. We'll give it away on Friday, December the 15th. And then I just found out a few minutes ago, before I left Chick-fil-A, they're going to be giving away 2 tickets to the Peach Bowl down in Atlanta, which is one of the this is one of the Final Four bowl games, is it not?
Yes,
it is.
Definitely. That's going to be unbelievable. So how do you get entered for that?
There you go. Well, she's telling me she'll give me the details on Monday. We're going to start Monday, and then we'll give it away on my show on Wednesday, December the 20th at Chick-fil-A. So that would be a chance to go watch 2 really, really good football teams at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. I guess that's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So those are 2 ways to win things. In the picking panel, we're going to run down that for you for a few minutes. We went 8 for 10 last week.
That's great.
Yeah, we bombed Georgia. And we bombed, did we take Notre Dame, Miami? We took Miami.
Yeah.
That wasn't the one. What did we bomb? We bombed another one. Otherwise, we went 8 for 10 again. The picking panel winner was Larry Perry out of Elizabeth, and he got himself $25. Again, we appreciate the folks in Elizabeth and everybody playing the game. So we'll talk more about that, how you can get the picking panel through tomorrow night for the all college picks now. So, again, high school football done for this year except Greenville, Anderson County. Are you surprised? Sitting here 4 or 5 weeks ago, I really thought there were some teams that could get on down the line. I thought Science Hill could. I thought Cloudland could, or Johnson County could, even Cloudland. I thought Elizabeth had a chance to make a run, make some noise, and they all kind of stubbed their toe. Are you surprised that there's only one still standing in Greenville?
Well, a lot of it comes down to matchups, and I think that we just saw some of our teams here run into some matchups that they just couldn't handle. I think with Johnson County, the speed was just too much. They had a home field advantage, but just couldn't overcome speed. Speed travels. It'll win you football games at home and on the road if you have an abundance of it. And I think that's what happened to them. I think Science Hill, looking back on it now, and it's easy to look in hindsight, but that Jefferson County game was the end of their football season, because it put them in a situation where they're on the road, they're going down there to play Bradley Central in an environment that was far from hospitable in many ways, and they didn't win that football game, and that cost them. I'm a little bit surprised Dobbins Bennett wasn't able to get by Bradley Central last week. But I think you're looking at a team there that's kind of got some momentum. Bradley Central and a good win for them, and they're moving on. But yeah, I am to answer your question. Surprised that more teams didn't make it a little bit further, but the matchups in the playoffs a lot of times dictate a lot of that, and there were some teams that just had bad matchups this year.
We had Larry Shively on the Tom Daly Sports Show earlier today, the athletic director from Dobbins Bennett. He was very proud, which has nothing to do with our show. Well, it does, but it doesn't. But they won the Region 1 Ralph Stout Sportsmanship Award. And to me, that's more in this day and age in the culture in which we're in, where everybody not everybody, but a lot of folks kind of show themselves, as Mama used to say. And so for a team to get Sportsmanship Award tells me that they conduct themselves on the field in a gentlemanly manner or a sportsmanlike manner. So kudos to Dobbins Bennett. Got picked the Ralph Stout Sportsmanship Award in Region 1, which I thought was very cool. And Larry Shively, the athletic director, said, of all the things we bring in here as far as trophies and plaques, he said, when you get a Sportsmanship Award, not for one guy, but for the whole cotton picking team, it's pretty special, and it is.
Yeah, and I think you hear a lot of talk, and every coach says it. If you go around to these media days, which I did this year, you're out there sweating during the summer, and you go to place after place, and they all say the same thing. We want to build a culture here. We want to build a good culture, and that's a coaching buzzword, but it's true. And you look at a guy like Graham Clark. Now, there's a guy that, if you want an example of good culture, there it is. I mean, the Sportsmanship Award plus the fact they win a lot of football games, and that was a team this year. They got hit in the mouth early with some big adversity. You lose a game on the road to Greenville at a time when nobody knew how good Greenville was going to be. Then you lose to your rival Science Hill after leading 14-0. And it's easy for a group of high school guys to get pointed the wrong direction. I mean, at that age, I was a knucklehead when I was in high school. I don't know about you. It would be really easy for a bunch of them to band together and start saying, you know what, the coaches don't know what they're talking about. Nobody knows, we're not very good. We're just, why are we out here killing ourselves? But they didn't, and they got better week after week. Caught a bad matchup there against. They hit Bradley Central at the wrong time, but just a good football team that got better every week, and they did it with class. A lot to be said for that. Stacy Carter at Science Hill the same way, and Jeremy Jenkins. Most of the coaches around here that you deal with, they build good culture, and we're lucky to have coaches in this area that they're just as concerned about developing good young men as they are about good young football players, and I think that really shows on the field.
We're talking to Dave Onge. We're live here at the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Coming up, we'll hear from Andy Dietrich here in a little while. Up next, after the break, we'll check in with Joe Avento. Final game of the regular season for the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State. It's kind of a mixed signal football game. Chattanooga having a tough year, but they just came off a big win over Samford. And Samford, of course, was ranked at the time. And, of course, the Bucs got beat by Samford, so I don't know how you gauge that, but Joe Avento will have the answer for us coming up here in a few minutes. Also, we'll check in a little bit later on with my man upstairs, Chris McCall. He'll come down out of the finance department and talk about the Hokies and the Pitt Panthers. And the Hokies at 7-3, and I don't know whether Justin Fuentes tarnished a little bit as the opportunity to be a head coach somewhere else, given the fact he's lost 3 games this season, but he's lost to 3 pretty good football teams, so I might add to that. But Chris will talk about the Virginia Tech Pitt matchup coming up here in a little while. And then Kevin Harmon's to stop by or give us a call and check in with us on the Tennessee LSU football game. As we go to the break, I think you're going to see a totally different football team this coming Saturday night down in Knoxville for a couple of reasons. Number one, the black cloud that's been over top of this program has been lifted up. Whether you like Butch Jones or not, the fact of the matter is these kids had to play under a cloud of is he or won't he or when's he going or what's going to happen, and so it has to affect you. Put yourself in their shoes as an employee somewhere, and the big guy, your boss, getting ready to get canned, and you think, okay, when's it going to happen? Is it going to affect me or my job? In this case, my playing time. So I think for that reason, and the fact number 2 is Brady Hoke has proven to be a very good football coach coming out of Michigan now as the assistant coach at UT. He is the interim head coach, and so for those 2 reasons, I don't know if they'll beat LSU, but you're going to see a different football team.
Yeah, I think they're really going to respond to Brady Hoke, and I think the one thing all players will tell you is that nobody cares about the players as much as Hoke does. That's been the case at Tennessee. That was the case at Michigan. I mean, they went through some rough times up there. Once things got going the wrong direction, they missed the bowl game his final year. But the players off that team we're still ready to fight for him to keep that job, and we're still, to this day, close to him. I mean, anytime they need anything, he's a guy they can reach out to. I think there's no better person in college football. I'll tell people that. And I've been listening to sports talk radio stuff here for a long time. And I hear Tennessee fans for the last 25 years, however long I've lived here, talk about the values they think are important with their football program. And Brady Hoke's a guy that, those values are instilled in him, and he's going to take those values and put them in those players, and he has during his time there. And, I think you can see it in action on the field. I don't know if injuries at this point have ravaged this team. I don't know if there's enough talent left there for them to beat an LSU, but LSU is going to get the best of Tennessee on Saturday.
Yep, I think you're seeing an improved football team. As we go to the break, let me give you some of these pre-owned vehicles again from Champion Chevrolet. Andy was here earlier in the show talking about today 2017. These are in no particular order, just pulling them out of the sky, but off this sheet. 2017 Honda Civic EXT, also a 2015 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 four-wheel drive. You also have a 2017 Cadillac XTS that's been traded in, a 2011 Ford Mustang convertible, wow, a 2015 Chevrolet Malibu, a 2012 Honda CR-V EXL. How about a 2014 Toyota Camry SE Sport 214.5, 2014.5. Have no clue what that means. Sounds good. Sounds fast. Here's a 2013 Buick Encore Premium. So all these available by checking out championjc.com on the webpage 24/7. We always say at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning. You can check out the pre-owned vehicles at Champion Chevrolet. I'm driving one. Bought me one here September a year ago. So I've had it 14 months, which is hard to believe. Run the wheels off that thing. It's a great ride, and I can tell you firsthand, they take care of you. You can buy a pre-owned vehicle here at Champion Chevrolet on the Bristol Motor Mile in Johnson City. Quick break. We'll come right back. We'll check in with Joe Vento. He joins us coming up next, talking Buck football, and on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show live from Champion Chevrolet on the Bristol Motor Mile in Johnson City. Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
It's model year closeout with gym employee pricing and 20% off on 17 models at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City. It's a great time to take advantage of closeout savings on our selection of over 300 Chevys to choose from. 17 1500 work truck, $23,995. 17 track, $17,548. 17 cruise, $16,488. 17 spark, $10,950. 17 Malibu, $18,985. Closeout savings, Saturday parts and service hours, and shopping online 24/7 will leave you asking, how do they do that?
Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue. Do you like pulled pork? At Phil's, the pulled pork is cooked low and slow. We cook it all night, but we serve it fast. Our pulled pork is hickory smoked, tender and juicy. We serve the pork either as a sandwich on a bun or platter style with garlic toast. And don't forget to try our pork wings. They taste like a cross between ham and our sweet ribs. It comes as a meal, as an add-on, or part of our meat sampler platters. Pulled pork and pork wings. Just two great reasons to stop by Phil's Dream Pit. Eastern Star exit off I-26, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
At FCA, we're touching millions
Going?
Good. How you doing, Dave?
Not bad. Not bad. Just, we got everything going on now.
Yeah.
Looking at
yeah.
football and basketball, but all different directions.
Yep.
We'll.
I'm gonna.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at fca.org.
It's model year closeout with gym employee pricing and 20% off on 17 models of Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City. It's a great time to take advantage of closeout savings on our selection of over 300 Chevys to choose from. 17 1500 work truck, $23,995. 17 track, $17,548. 17 cruise, $16,488. 17 spark, $10,950. 17 Malibu, $18,985. Closeout savings, Saturday parts and service hours, and shopping online 24/7 will leave you asking, how do they do that?
At American Import Auto Repair in Johnson City, one of the 8 areas of your vehicle that takes constant continuing education is the air conditioner on your vehicle.
Well, you would think that AC would be a simple one, but it's getting to be a lot bigger than just AC. It's the management of the system, not just AC, but heat and everything. It's a lot more computer controlled than it used to be. It used to be just a little button on the dash that you pushed. Now there's all kinds of electronics involved in that. Braking systems used to be fairly simple. Now, some of the newer vehicles, you have to have a computer to actually operate the braking system to make sure that it's okay after you've worked on it. Computer controlled of the engine is becoming very important. There's a lot to that. Each one of these areas, the technology is just tripled and quadrupled in the last few years. It's hard to keep up. You really need to stay in the books and know what's going on with them.
American Import Auto Repair, Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
Your life is always changing. You never know what shape it will take, or how your financial needs might change. But if we talk about your investments and how they can provide for you and your family, the future becomes clear. At Wells Fargo Advisors, we believe conversation leads to financial clarity. Let's start a conversation today.
All right, we're back here live on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview. Of course, it's a football preview, but this time of year, my man Joe Avento is running in all different directions. Got basketball, football, everything else going on. Joe, how you doing this evening?
Doing great, Dave. How about yourself?
Doing pretty well. Let's. I know you got a big basketball game you're going to be covering tomorrow night, but let's start with the football. ETSU Saturday is going to be making the trip down to Chattanooga to face the Mocs, and it's been kind of a weird season for Chattanooga, especially with the quarterback position. What are you anticipating looking at that game on Saturday?
Well, it's interesting. This time last year, Chattanooga was nationally ranked and a powerhouse, and they got a new coach, Tom Arth, has come in, and he had some trouble right off the bat. The quarterback, Alejandro Benefield, was a all-conference performer. He was second-team preseason all-conference this year. He was suspended for the first 4 games of the season because of an academic issue. Back in the 5th game, he got back and immediately got hurt, threw 5 passes all year. So while he was suspended, Mississippi State transfer Nick Tiano had replaced him. And then the day that Alejandro Benefield hurt, Tiano came off the bench after starting the first 4 games, and he got hurt. So that just threw it up in the air. They ended up turning to a freshman, Cole Copeland, who's gone the way. They were kind of hoping to redshirt him with all that experience ahead of him. But he's been man, and right now the Mocs are 2-7. a far cry from what his program was last year. Unfortunately for the Bucks, Chattanooga seems to be turning the corner. They beat Samford a couple of weeks ago, and has a team that beat the heck out of the Bucks last week. And they also just lost to Wofford in double overtime. Wofford's at the class of the league this year. So the 2-7 record makes Chattanooga look beatable to ETSU, but they're playing their best football of the season right now. So it's going to be a tough.
Yeah, definitely.
Not won on the road in the 3 years since it's returned to football.
Yeah, it definitely looking at it, it shows how valuable the quarterback position is, with the Chattanooga turnaround where they were last year, where they are this year. Of course, ETSU, they've had the same guy at quarterback. It's just kind of a matter of getting Hendricks some time to throw the football.
It is. He had some bad games lately, and he'll be the first to tell you that he needs to take care of the ball a little better. A couple of turnovers really killed him last week, and but I still say when he gets time, he's as good as anybody in the conference at throwing the ball. He's a very accurate passer, and they're going to need a lot out of him this week because, believe it or not, these are the two worst rushing teams in the Southern Conference. So the quarterback play is going to be a big part of it. In fact, this is kind of an interesting stat. Chattanooga has 775 rushing yards this year. All year, the Bucks have 757. There's 27 players in FCS that have more than those two teams have. So that'll show you how low the running game is. These teams are averaging slightly over 2 yards a carry, which take you more than 4 downs to get a first down at that rate.
Yeah, it definitely the running has not been good to ETSU or Chattanooga. The one goal this week, obviously, for ETSU, to win this game and get some momentum. I mean, that's going to be big going into next season. But also, when you look at in-state recruiting and everything else going on with the Mocs, definitely would be a huge win for ETSU and a good way to end the season.
It would be, because as we say about in every sport, when ETSU came back to the Southern Conference, Chattanooga voted to admit them, and the chancellor said, we want ETSU in the conference, so Chattanooga has somebody to hate. It's that kind of a rivalry in any sport. So, I mean, it's kind of a cliche to say throw out the records, but when Chattanooga and ETSU play, they just want to beat each other. They're not very friendly.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of kind of an unfriendly environment, ETSU heading up to Kentucky to face the Wildcats. Wildcats obviously came out on the wrong end, of a hotly contested basketball game the other night. So they are coming off a loss. I'm sure they're not going to be in the best of moods. And here comes ETSU rolling into town to play in Rupp Arena.
That's right, tomorrow night. It's a big game. I just took part in the John Calipari video conference this afternoon, and he said that, well, first of all, this is his youngest team he's ever had. He's got 8 freshmen, and he's saying that he's going to have to basically change his coaching style, because right now, he said, they don't really know what they're doing on offense. They're using their athleticism on defense. Steve Forbes says it's the tallest and longest team he's ever coached against in his career. And Calipari's kind of relying on defense and hoping they learn how to play offense on the fly. He said he's just basically trying to work on their spacing so they know when to shoot and when to drive. And it's a complete work in progress. But when you have that kind of recruiting class, some people have called it his best class ever, with time they're going to get better. So as far as ETSU is concerned, they're playing them at the perfect time. I mean, you'd like to play them early. Of course, they just gave Kansas a good game, but they also they only beat Vermont by 4, and they beat Utah Valley by 10. So they've not learned how to blow anybody out yet. I'm sure the Bucks are hoping they don't learn that in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, definitely not. They are kind of catching them at the right time. You talk about Kentucky being a work in progress. ETSU's a work in progress as well. Even though they have some guys back from a very successful team last year, a lot of new faces as well. And it's kind of been that way with Forbes, where he's got to kind of blend guys together and find that chemistry. Where are they at in that process, and where are they looking to take some steps forward?
Well, he talked about a lot of players that returned from last year that played some big minutes last year, and that's true. But they weren't the guys you were counting on for the biggest contributions. And when those guys got thrown into that role last Friday at Northern Kentucky, they looked a little bit uncomfortable in that position. So that's where the work in progress is for ETSU, is to find the guys who are going to be the go-to guys. Because last year they had one guy, TJ Cromer, who could erase a lot of mistakes by just scoring a lot. And the first night ETSU didn't have that, and then down in Savannah on Monday night, Devontavious Payne kind of took over, and he scored 17 points in a 27-4 run, finished with 28. That's exactly what they're hoping for from him. He didn't give it to him the first night. He did the second. So that could be a sign that they're going in the right direction. But that's the kind of thing they're going to need, guys that played their roles last year to now become more of the go-to guys. And that's where they're a work in progress.
Yeah, definitely going to be a trial by fire coming up tomorrow night. Turning our attention to the women's team, ETSU goes in, plays a tough game, Thompson Bowling Arena. Tiana Tartar pretty early on in that one gets her nose broken and gets stitches. Lo and behold, she turns around and is playing against App State the other night and playing really well. Played I think somewhere around between 36-38 minutes, pretty much the whole game. Just a pretty tough performance by her the other night.
She scored 22 points and had 8 rebounds a couple days after breaking her nose. And the one thing that I was not at the game in Knoxville with the Lady Vols, but when I read the account of it, it said that the UT doctor would not allow her to go back in. And it made me laugh, because if you scout ETSU, she's the one weapon that they have that any major college would be afraid of, and the doctor wouldn't let her back in. And I'm sure that was for her own good. It struck me as being funny, because I could see the coach giving the doctor the nod, saying, "Don't let her back in."
Yeah. Well, whatever you do.
But she's tough as any player that I've. She is as tough as any player I've ever seen there, man or woman. She'll play through anything. She's played through injuries, and she just wants to win. She's a competitor, and she's fun to watch.
Yeah, the talent is evident by the fact that she's on the Lieberman watch list, going into the season. Just a tremendous honor there. But also, like you mentioned, her toughness and that leading by example. I mean, that's got to be something that Coach Ezell likes, because of the fact that that's the sort of thing that kind of permeates itself down throughout the rest of the team.
It does. I mean, she's a leader, and she doesn't put up with anything. If they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, I'm sure she'll let them know. What was interesting, in the couple days before the season started, one of our reporters asked her, what part of your game do you think you need to improve on before the season, in your senior season? And she looked at him like, I'm not sure, and she thought about it, and she said leadership. But I said, I think you should shoot more. Yeah. And she laughed about it. And then in the game against Cincinnati, I get a halftime report. They're winning, and Tartar hasn't even attempted one shot yet. Wow. In the whole first half of the first game.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember hearing from her Science Hill days, is they were begging her to shoot more, and she was just such a passer and such a distributor and such a team first player. And mentioning that, Shai Copeney, another former Science Hill player, has found her way to ETSU, and I think it's just kind of a neat story to see those two playing together again.
It is, yeah. They played in state championship game in high school, and when Shai came from UT Martin for her, she's a graduate transfer. When she came into practice, Tiana told me that she's even shooting better than she ever has, and she has shown that. I guess
I know all of our local teams are out, but still a lot of playoff football going on in the high school level. Tom, if you want to go over who's playing where as we look into tomorrow night's games.
Yeah, let's run them down and see what's going on again. We're at the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show tomorrow night. 1A, Coalfield at Greenback, 11-1, 10-1. Whitwell, 11-1, and South Pittsburgh, 12-0. You'll see that most of the teams that are supposed to be where they are there for a reason. This, of course, is the quarterfinals. Huntington at 12-0 at Cornersville 11-1. Lake County 10-2 at Hillcrest 8-4. In 2A football tomorrow night, Rockwood 9-3 at Meigs County 12-0. Marion County at 7-5 at Chattanooga Tyner 10-2. Waverly 10-1 at Columbia Academy 11-1, and Peabody 10-2 will be at Union City tomorrow night. That team is 10-2, so really only one that's not supposed to be there based on the record, of course, is Marion County at 7-5 in 2A. And in 1A football, I guess it'll be Hillcrest at 8-4. I mean, they're all there for a reason. They've earned it. But record-wise, those are two surprises in those two classes.
Yeah, you see this a lot down in Middle Tennessee, where you have these 2A teams that are playing up 4A competition and get kicked around a little bit during the season. Then once they find themselves back down there with those 2A teams and the playoffs rolling around, if they're not injured too badly, they can really make a run because they've sharpened themselves pretty good in the regular season.
3A football tomorrow night. Austin East, the Roadrunners at 10-2 at Alcoa 10-2. That's going to be a dandy. Also tomorrow night down at Chattanooga, Metro Chattanooga, Red Bank, the Lions at 10-2, hosting Smith County 9-3. Fairview 9-3 at Pearl Cone tomorrow night. They are 10-2. And Raleigh, Egypt undefeated at 12-0 at Covington 11-1. That's in 3A. 4A football, we already talked about it. Anderson County, the Mavericks at 12-0 at Greenville 12-0. Maplewood 9-3 at Marshall County 9-3. Springfield 9-3 at Jackson Southside, an 8-4 football team tomorrow night. And then also in 4A, Crockett County 10-2 at Haywood 10-2 as well. In 5A football, Knox Central the Bobcats at 7-5 at South Doyle 7-5. That's obviously a surprise bracket there. Knox Catholic 9-3 at Oak Ridge 10-2. That's going to be an old-fashioned slobber knocker. I guess they all will. Beach 12-0 at Summit 10-2. And Brighton 8-4 at Henry County 9-3. Any surprises there in 4A or 5A football for you?
Well, it's kind of interesting to me. I thought Boone or maybe Tennessee High would have a chance to go a little ways in that 5A, and to see Knox Central there, I think to me is a little bit of a surprise. But they down in Knoxville, they see some tough competition, which is part of the reason their record is what it is. And like you say, everybody at this point deserves to be there, and everybody's still got a shot.
Yep, 6A football tomorrow night. Bradley Central, the Bears, in Maryville to play the Rebels. Here we go again. Everybody thought, well, George Quarles leaves Maryville to be on the staff at Furman, and it'll be a big drop-off. It hasn't. They're 11-1. Playing Bradley Central. Cookeville 10-2 at Murfreesboro, Oakland 12-0. Brentwood 11-1 at Cane Ridge 11-1, and White Station, Memphis White Station at 5-7. That is the surprise team this year. 5-7, White Station at Whitehaven 10-2. So you got a team sub 500 at 5-7 in White Station.
That's the only team in that bracket that doesn't have double-digit wins, which tells you a lot about how dominant some of those 6A teams are. Oakland, to me, what they do, they're just a machine there. They have Division I talent coming out of there every single year, and Maryville speaks for themselves. Our local fans have gotten a taste of Maryville over the last few years, and yeah, it's amazing, and it looks like they're keeping that thing running.
In Virginia tomorrow night, Region D, Chilhowie, the Warriors 8-3, taking on Hurley 7-4 tomorrow night. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Also, Patrick Henry and Glade Springs at 9-2 against J.I. Burton, who is 6-5. That's in Region D. Also in Class 2, Region D, Union tomorrow night with the big tight end that's yet, I don't think he's committed yet, has he?
James Mitchell. He's leaning toward Virginia Tech from what I hear, which will make somebody upstairs a little bit happy because he's a player.
That'll make Chris McCall a happy camper, I guarantee it. Union 11-0 against Marion 9-2 tomorrow night. And Graham High School, the G-Men out of Bluefield, Virginia, 10-1, taking on Grayson County at 7-4. And that's your Virginia high school football playoffs for tomorrow night. Again, of course, winners move on, losers go home in 2017. Pick and panel time. Here we go. Get a couple of games before we take the break, and we're going to come back and again break down the top 25 college football games this week. So here we go. Ride with us, because if you want to know, gosh, how do I pick? Follow us, because the two-headed monster went 8 for 10. I guess I'd go back and look. I haven't done this. Based on what we've talked about all year long, I would have to say we're probably 75-80%.
I'd say so. Yeah, somewhere in there, which I know my mom's at home yelling, "Why didn't you do that in school?"
David, why couldn't you do 80% when your marks at school? Well, Mama, I don't know. It wasn't football. So
I wrote a lot of funny stuff in those blue books. Well, I landed on my feet, so we're okay. But
he's like a cat, 9 lives.
We can laugh about it now.
Yeah, it wasn't funny back then. Ooh. Ooh, I had those dogs. Wasn't good. All right, here we go. First pick, the bragging rights of Los Angeles. Do we take UCLA or do we take Southern Cal?
Oh, we're going to take Southern Cal in this game. UCLA has just been – they might have the best quarterback, or in terms of pro prospect in the country in Rosen, and just haven't been able to translate it into winning. They've recruited well at UCLA, but, man, USC is still the cream of the crop in Los Angeles at this point.
And out of fairness, again, they're 9-2. Southern Cal, 12th in the country. UCLA at 5-5. That's the bragging rights of Los Angeles. Huge for recruiting. We're taking Southern Cal.
We're going to take Southern Cal.
North Carolina State at Wake Forest coming up. The NC State Wolfpack taking on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. That'll be coming up on Saturday evening. 25th ranked North Carolina State 7-3. Wake Forest in Winston-Salem at 6-4. Wolfpack or the Demon Deacons in an upset?
I've got a funny feeling about this.
I do too.
I'm going to say Wake Forest.
Yep.
If you agree with me on that, I
yes.
think, and I saw Wake play Clemson. I saw Wake play Clemson, and we've been. I think somebody rang the gong over there and get hooked off the set, but
well,
I just have a feeling they're going to win that ball game.
Explain that buzzer over there. Andy Dietrich in the head-to-head competition against Mr. Copenhaver won again last week, and
it's starting to get to the point where I'm scared to pick against him because he's right so often.
Mr. Copenhaver never looked up that time, and so what added insult to injury, Andy said, well, what's the winning food prize between this? So I want chocolate chip cookies. So I brought him in today, and he said, Tom, in front of Mr. Copenhaver, would you like to have a champion chocolate chip cookie? I said, man, this guy's, he just swims in dangerous waters.
Wow.
I'm telling you. But as Tim said, this week's a brand new week, so we'll see. So we're taking Wake Forest over North Carolina State in what would be an upset, of course. One more let's take a look at before we go to the break. The Texas Longhorns will be in Morgantown to take on West Virginia. See, the Longhorns are 5-5. West Virginia is, I believe, 7-3 or 8-2, 7-3. Mountaineers or the Longhorns in Morgantown?
I'm going to take the Mountaineers. I'm going to take them because I've got a good feeling about the Mountaineers. Texas. I think Herman, like he said, you can't put pixie dust on it. You can't be sprinkling pixie dust and win football games. It's going to take a little while for them to be as good as they need to be, I think. And West Virginia puts up points in bunches. I think they're going to do it again this week. Maryland this year, their win over Texas, they kind of exposed some things that I think that West Virginia is going to be able to exploit in terms of team speed against Texas's defense.
I'll make sure I'm right. I got the paper here. I want to make sure. I'm pretty sure I said Texas. Yeah, Texas 5-5 at West Virginia 7-3. We're taking the Mountaineers.
We are.
Go Mountaineers. Used to say that when I was a kid. Do you remember? Probably don't remember. You're from Michigan. They had a kid at West Virginia when we were little boys. This guy was a cult hero. He went on to play in the NFL for a couple of years. Then kind of fizzled, but he was the stud. He was a wideout named Danny Bugs way back in the day. Does that ring any bells?
No bells at all. There are no bells being rung.
No, there's an age. Ring that bell. So
there we go.
There's an age differential there. Danny Bugs and the West Virginia Mountaineers. So anyway, when I was a kid, that was the team growing up in West Virginia. So
who was their quarterback? Major
Harris.
Major Harris. Mm-hmm. He was a player. I remember him.
Oh yes, that was in the Don Nehlen era. So
I had a buddy in Boones Creek when I was growing up. His name's Charles Harris. Or Charles Norris, and Charles Norris liked Major Harris a lot.
Big time.
Big time. That was his player. He was a big fan of his, and he led him to some victories up there.
Oh, a lot of victories. So anyway, we're taking West Virginia. We're taking Southern Cal. We're taking Wake Forest. Let's pick one more. We've got Arizona at Oregon. That's out on the far west. Let's see if I can pull that one. I think Arizona on paper should be.
We're taking Arizona. Quarterback.
Well, that's Rodriguez's team.
Yep, and that kid can sling the football. He can run the football. I'm impressed with him. I'm gonna go Arizona in that ball game because Oregon. I like Taggart too. He's gonna be a great coach. I think they hired the right guy out there. He's gonna do a wonderful job. It's gonna take him a little while.
Here's a guy that nobody's talking about. I just thought of Rich Rodriguez, coached at Michigan, Gerald alma mater, coached at Marshall. Not Marshall, West Virginia.
Yep.
Not my alma mater, but my state. And this guy, I don't know whether he's content in Arizona. He's happy, but here's a guy that name's not popped out any at all that I know of.
He's the man that invented the spread offense.
Yep.
I mean, that came out of, where was it, Glenville State in West Virginia? Mm-hmm. It happened on accident. The quarterback accidentally dropped the ball. took off running when the defensive end pinched in, and they looked at it and said, there might be something there. And now all of a sudden everybody in the entire country, from high school on up, everywhere, plays the spread offense. And he's the guy that innovated it. Everybody talks about Chip Kelly, but, things just went so bad on such a big stage for Rodriguez. It seems like nobody's, other than Arizona, has been willing to reach out and contact him. And I think with the right defensive coordinator, that guy could win a lot of football games.
Last pick before the break, 18th ranked Memphis, again 8-1 with Riley Ferguson, the quarterback, former Tennessee player that transferred out. Mike Norville, the head coach, getting a lot of looks from a lot of different schools, including on the outside looking in, kind of on the fringe. I've heard him mentioned against to go to Tennessee a little bit. Memphis 8-1, hosting the Mustangs of SMU at 6-4. That's a Saturday afternoon kickoff game in Memphis at the Liberty Bowl. And do we take Memphis or are we taking SMU in an upset?
I'm taking Memphis all day on that. That's going to be a big win for Memphis. It's kind of funny. Who was the other one? Nate Peterman. He was also a Tennessee quarterback, and now all of a sudden he's starting for the Bills this week in the NFL. So a couple of those guys transferred out, wound up going on to have good careers, and that's something that people who are not happy with Butch Jones have been bringing up a lot here this week.
Oh, there's been a lot of things brought up about what they don't call him Butch anymore. They call him Lyle. Did you know that?
Really?
Lyle
Jones. Is that the new thing?
Oh, yeah. It's no longer Butch, it's Lyle.
Okay.
Before we go to the break, the GM employee pricing. Andy said about 4 times in 11 years or thereabouts. Very rare that this happened, but through the month of November, you can come in and purchase on select 17 Silverados, Traverses, Expresses, Tahoes, or Suburbans. You get the same discount as if you worked for General Motors, which is a significant discount. GM employee pricing this month right here again at Champion Chevrolet on select 2017 Silverados, Expresses, Tahoes, Traverses, and Suburbans. So that's a heck of a discount. You get it just like anybody here, like Lloyd or Jay or a Pig or any of these guys would come in and buy a vehicle. They get that GM employee pricing discount. So do you. To the end of November. Again, reminding you they're closed on Thanksgiving, but will be open, of course, closed on Sundays anyway, but Saturday this week and tomorrow, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, closed on Thursday, back open on Friday, and keep right on trucking. And so it's a chance you come out here and get some great pricing. The GM employee pricing, it's for a limited time to the end of the month. One more time on 2017 Silverados, 2017 Traverses, Expresses, Tahoes, and Suburbans. So that's a chance you come out here and get some huge savings, and they'll treat you like a GM employee for the month because you'll get their discount pricing. Quick break. We'll run down the top 25 college football games. Also, Chris McCaws will come down and scream Hokie, Hokie, Hokie High in a little while as we're live here at Champion Chevrolet. We'll do this show, and then next week off for Thanksgiving, and then we'll do our final show to wrap things up. At that point, coming out of rivalry weekend, all the bowls will be announced, and so we'll do our final show of the year on November the 30th, and then reminding you that you're going to get a chance to win tickets to the Peach Bowl through Chick-fil-A and the Tom Taylor Sports Show, which is very cool. We're going to give those away on December the 20th. That would be a game I'd want to go to.
Definitely.
Big time.
Yeah, I don't even have to know who's going to play. I just know it's going to be one of the 2 of the top 4.
You got it.
That's going to be awesome.
Yep. And so we're going to be giving away tickets. What Chick-fil-A is, we'll tell you how you can win them. We're going to give them away on our show on Wednesday, December the 20th from our Wednesday show at Chick-fil-A, The Crossings here in North Johnson City. Top 25 college football. We'll take a look at it next here on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
At American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City, one of the 8 areas of your vehicle that takes constant continuing education is the air conditioner on your vehicle.
Well, you would think that AC would be a simple one, but it's getting to be a lot bigger than just AC. It's the management of the system, not just AC, but heat and everything. It's a lot more computer controlled than it used to be. It used to be just a little button on the dash that you pushed. Now there's all kinds of electronics involved in that. Braking systems used to be fairly simple. Now some of the newer vehicles, you have to have a computer to actually operate the braking system to make sure that it's okay after you've worked on it. Computer controlled of the engine is becoming very important. There's a lot to that. Each one of these areas, the technology is just tripled and quadrupled in the last few years. It's hard to keep up. You really need to stay in the books and know what's going on with them.
American Import and Auto Repair, Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111. Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
It's Friday night at 7 o'clock. You've been involved in a car accident. You may be out of state on vacation or just a few miles from home. What do you do? Who do you call? At Farmers Insurance Group, one call is all you have to make. Hello, this is Jim Klein, an agent with Farmers Insurance. It's called One and Done. You don't have to wait till Monday morning to file a claim. You can make the initial call and we'll begin right away to help you. We assist you in moving the vehicle to a certified repair shop, getting you set up with rental car, and informing your agent. Then here at the staff at Jim Klein Farmers Insurance, we follow the claim through to the end. It's that easy. One and Done. We're your one and done location for all your insurance needs. Auto, home, life, commercial, workers' comp, and bonds. We can help you with all your insurance needs. Give me a call today, Jim Klein Farmers Insurance at 247-5400, your one and done location in Kingsport, 247-5400.
Now available at Chick-fil-A, the Crossings in North Johnson City. The Hash Brown Scramble, the first breakfast bowl with Chick-fil-A. The Hash Brown Scramble, a hearty breakfast option made with Chick-fil-A's signature tot-style hash browns, scrambled eggs, a Monterey Jack and cheddar cheese blend, and a choice of sliced Chick-fil-A nuggets or sausage. Served with jalapeno salsa, the scramble can be enjoyed in a bowl or as a burrito. The Hash Brown Scramble Bowl, 30 grams of protein when made with nuggets. The bowl and burrito start at $3.49. Served until 10:30 every morning, Monday through Saturday. The Hash Brown Scramble or burrito, again at Chick-fil-A, the Crossings in North Johnson City.
Don't forget the pick and panel contest. There it is. You can win $25. Could you be Larry Perry from Elizabethton, who won last week? TomTolleySports.com/football. Again, all you got to do is go pick those names, pick those games, first name, last name. Again, your email address and the town you're from, and beyond that, we'll take care of the rest. Also, let's bring you up one more here, too. The Cash for Christmas promo that starts on Monday the 27th. There it is. All you got to do is every time you share this show or retweet this show, you automatically get a share or retweet as an entry. There's no limit on the number of entries you can make, and so we're going to be giving away $100 cash to the first winner and some other multiple prizes to multiple winners. So $100 cash right before Christmas. We'll give it away on December the 15th. Can't beat that. So if I could, I would, but I can't. I'd love to win $100.
I'm not eligible either. You're lucky. I'd get that kid. I'd get my kid to be pushing those buttons.
There you go.
Just tell her you want a puzzle. You want that puzzle replaced.
$100 puzzle.
$100 could buy you a few puzzles. So.
We're still in the doghouse with that puzzle.
Yeah, getting out of it. She's forgetting about that.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up. So
yeah.
She has to be nice now because it's almost Christmas.
That's exactly right.
She can't yell at me anymore.
No.
Santa is listening.
Santa is got all ears. There you go. Let's run down top 25 college football. We'll go chronologically, starting at 12 o'clock games coming up on Saturday. And the first one out of the chute would be the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Mercer Bears. This is a checkbook game getting ready for the Iron Bowl.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you, I hate this that the SEC does this, and I think it ought to be criminal. It ought to be against the law, something. You ought to play a real football team. You know, at this point, if they have enough time to play these games at this point of the season, somebody should mandate they play somebody earlier on. And you know that may, and a lot of schools do it, but it was so bad this week that Nick Saban, if you heard his press conference, I mean, he's so wide. He doesn't have anything to do this week because they're going to beat Mercer like a drum anyway, right? So he gets up to the podium. And he said, "Hey, has anybody noticed?" He said, "I'm seeing all these jeans that everybody has now. They look worn out and they got holes in them." He said, "People buy them that way in the store." He said, "When did that happen?" He said, "I was a kid in West Virginia. I was walking around in worn out jeans because I couldn't afford any better. You know, now they're buying them that way. You know, so he has enough time to to chuckle about the state of blue jeans.
That's how bad it's going to be Saturday. He didn't talk about the X's and O's. He's talking about fashion statements for kids in this day and age.
Make them play somebody.
Yeah. Alabama will blow out Mercer, get him a big check, and head back to Metro Atlanta, the Mercer Bears. And so that's going. Says Mercer? No, Mercer's not in Atlanta. Mercer is.
Mercer's in Macon.
Mercer's
they go
in
back
Macon.
to Macon and buy a
I'm
lot
thinking
of
Georgia State.
blue jeans.
Yeah.
Probably with holes in them.
A lot of blue jeans. The money they're going to get. 11th ranked Texas Christian. The Horned Frogs will be at Texas Tech. TCU at 8-2. The Red Raiders at 5-5. That's a 12 o'clock game. TCU. The trap game is going to be okay.
I think they're going to be okay. I really like Patterson. I know last time UT hired, they said they were concerned about how Patterson would handle the big stage, at Tennessee. Hey, he's built himself a big stage there at TCU, doing a great job at that school. And, there's going to be a lot of offense from Texas Tech. But I think TCU, the defense will be the difference, and they'll get a win. Chris
McCall joins us coming up here in a few minutes talking about the Hokies and the Pitt Panthers. Number 2, Miami. The Hurricanes hosting Virginia at 6-4. The Canes at 9-0. Trap game, or is this all Miami?
Oh, man. Miami, I think, is going to roll. That team right there is playing with confidence. I think Mark Richt, talk about a perfect coach for a situation. I mean, he fits into Miami. He's just absolutely seamless, that transition. I think that's one that's been good for him. It's been good for Georgia. It's a win-win situation, and they're going to get another win there on Saturday.
Of course, the marquee matchup on Saturday, 12 o'clock kickoff at Camp Randall, Wisconsin. 19th ranked Michigan, 8-2. 8th ranked Wisconsin, 10-0. That's going to be a barn burner. Who do we take on that one?
Oh, man, if you like violence, if you like smash mouth football, if you like big Midwestern guys running into each other, it'll be like a rugby scrum this whole game. Both these teams, big offensive lines, and they're gonna pound it, man. They're gonna play some old school football. Every once in a while, you'll see a forward pass. It won't be a big thing every now and then. Man, I hate to pick it. I was talking to Joe Vento a little bit earlier during the break. He's a big Wisconsin fan. He's got questions about his team. I have questions about my team. Neither one of us is confident enough to talk any trash about this one. I think it's going to be a big surprise. Whoever executes the best is going to win, and it's up in the air on which team that is.
So from the picking panel, who we taking?
Oh, we have to do it on the picking panel. Oh, my goodness. Michigan. Let's go Michigan. No? You're going to go Wisconsin? I'll go with what you think.
Let's let Mr. Copenhaver have the final call. Tim, Michigan or Wisconsin?
There we go. That makes me feel a little bit better. Now, if Andy had said Wisconsin, I'd be bummed out.
It would be a little different, yeah. If Andy had said it, Tim says it, take it to the bank. There you go. Because Andy doesn't know. He had such a sugar rush this afternoon, those cookies. He doesn't know. Andy, Wisconsin or Michigan?
He picked the winner. That's what he did. That's all
winner,
he
winner,
does.
chicken dinner.
He picks winners.
Auburn, 6th ranked. That's see, he just doesn't stop.
Oh man,
he doesn't. He just keeps twisting it and oh.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, okay. 6th ranked Auburn will be taking on Duck Dynasty boys, Louisiana Monroe. Gus Malzahn. Now, Carmichael said today, don't be too surprised if Gus bolts Auburn to go to Arkansas. I don't know about that one, or Texas A&M.
Well, A&M is going to be in the running for a coach, and they've got the money out there, and that's, the boosters. That's a big part of it. That's the thing with Tennessee. Ever since Haslam bought Cleveland Browns, he doesn't have all that money to devote just to Tennessee. So, yeah, they've got a good group of boosters out there. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up at A&M, or Jimbo Fisher may end up out there too. But there'll be no mystery about Saturday because Auburn is going to roll past Louisiana Monroe.
And they're both getting ready. They and Alabama getting ready with a couple of cream puffs, getting ready for the big Iron Bowl coming up next week when they decide who's going to be the bragging rights of the state of Alabama and maybe decide who's going to be in the SEC championship game, the way it's setting up, so against Georgia. 17th ranked Mississippi State at Arkansas. Bulldogs 7-3. The Razorbacks 4-6. Fired their athletic director yesterday, Jeff Long, on the spot, gone. That tells me that old Brett's probably in trouble too. He's on a slippery slope. Yep.
I like Brett Bielema because he stands over in the sidelines. He was I remember him at Wisconsin. If there was a 380-pound offensive lineman out there, he's going to Wisconsin. And he's done the same thing at Arkansas. I was watching them last week. It's comical how big those guys are, but they can't move. In the SEC, that'll kill you, and it'll kill them coming up this weekend because Mississippi State will get the win.
The number one team outside of the Power 5 right now in college football, again, in the poll showed that in the latest CFP, is the Scarlet, or the Black Knights, I should say, of Central Florida, 14th in the country at 9-0. They'll be at Temple, take on the Owls, 5-5. Scott Frost, the head coach, being batted around for the Nebraska job, the Florida job, possibly on the outside looking in on the Tennessee job. So Central Florida should probably have things their own way, and a 12 o'clock kickoff on Saturday.
I think they will. I think they get a big win there. I'm really impressed with Scott Frost, and there's a guy right there that can. He's got some decisions to make. People assume he's going home to Nebraska because that job's going to be open. They fired their athletic director earlier this year. Riley hasn't done anything at that school other than be a nicer guy than Bo Pelini was, which I guess is why they hired him, and that's what they got. But they're not winning. So, but can Nebraska ever be built to the level that one of these other schools looking for a coach can be built to? I just think the allure of coaching Florida would be too much for him to pass up since he recruits so well down there already. I imagine that might be a landing spot for him, which would be really bad news, I think, for Tennessee if that were to happen.
Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. We are live here inside the studio, inside the showroom at Champion Chevrolet. Fourth-ranked Clemson should have no problem, 9-1, hosting the Citadel at 5-5 at 12:20 on Saturday in Death Valley, getting ready for their big rivalry game against the South Carolina Gamecocks next week. Clemson, no problem, I would think, with the Citadel.
I mean, come on. This is what bothers me. And, okay, so you get a cupcake or two a year. I understand that. There needs to be a rule. Play them early. Have this happen in September. Treat them like preseason games in the NFL. You're going to play your starters a half and then get the backups in. Try to avoid injury. But, man, we get worked up to a fevered pitch. If you look at last week's matchups and how good they are, then all of a sudden we come up this week and we have some terrible non-conference games going on. Then we're supposed to ramp the intensity back up for a big rivalry weekend next weekend. I mean, there needs to be something done about this in the scheduling so that you kind of build a little bit better to what's going to be a great weekend next weekend. One of the games on the picking panel, Virginia Tech, the Hokies at 7-3, back at Blacksburg Lane Stadium, 12:20 kickoff against the Pitt Panthers, 4-6. Hokies all the way. Man, I'm going to tell you, you don't want to be playing Pitt this week if you're Virginia Tech. Things are not quite going the right direction for them right now. And Pitt is a team that they make you grind. Narduzzi, the coach there, just a miserable football team to have to play against. I mean, they don't win all their games, and I don't think they have the talent Virginia Tech has. But, man, they make it miserable for the opposition. I think Tech gets the win, but it's going to be a close ball game, and they're going to have to play pretty well to get it done. Hokie high. About to go 8-3 according to Dave Angie. Again, we're going down the top 25 college football games chronologically. 3:30 kickoff. Here's the 3:30 games now. Number 7 Georgia. Told you last week it was going to be a trap game, and Auburn got them out there and got them good. They'll host Kentucky, 7-3 Wildcats, 9-1 Bulldogs on Saturday between the Hedges and Athens. Georgia all the way. Can Kentucky pull off the upset? No, there's no trap in this one. It's going to be the Bulldogs get a big win emphatically. I think they win this football game. I am a bit curious. You're going to find out about the culture they built there at Georgia. Everybody, when things are rolling well, people can be upbeat and happy and cooperative. When things go bad the way they did, you get hit in the mouth, you find out a lot about your team the next week. I think they're clearly the better football team, but they've got a lot of young players. So I'm curious to see how Georgia responds. It's going to be enough to win, but regardless of how they play, I believe against a pretty bad Kentucky team. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of culture they've built there and how they respond to a loss like the one they had last week. Andy Dietrich joins us coming up in a few minutes before he heads out. We're going to let him get in here and talk. I know he's got a prior commitment, so we're going to let him visit. What? What time you got to go? Well, come on over. We'll make it happen right now. Let's jump in, yeah. Let's jump in. We're calling audible. Omaha. We'll finish up. We'll get an Omaha. You what?
That's not a lot.
Wow. Woo. Man.
And on that note, Lloyd's leaving.
In the saddle, Andy Dietrich. Now,
again.
You're heading off to the Night of Smiles tonight.
Yes.
Which I love. Tell folks out there what in the world this is all about. Claudia Bird passing out checks.
I think I've been, almost every single year for the last 9-10 years. Speedway Children's Charities, headed up by Claudia Bird and Betsy Holloman, have fundraisers all year round during all the events, all the races. The football game last year. They have shooting tournaments. They have fishing tournaments. They have the Bucket Brigade.
Ride of a lifetime during the race.
Right, yeah, auctions with things. Drivers have signed helmets, and they raise money all year round, and they give it away on tonight. What is tonight, and they've called it the Night of Smiles. And the reason why is anywhere last year was the record year. They raised just a tick over $1 million dollars, and that was the big jump was mainly because of the football game.
Battle of Bristol.
They had a lot of promotional stuff with that and different events, but on a normal year, I don't know how much they've raised this year, so I don't know what I'm talking about this year. But in normal years, it's somewhere between $600,000 and $750,000 is what they raise, and then they hand back out. And nonprofits in this area, from I think as far away as Morristown all the way up maybe to some in Southwest Virginia and Bristol, Virginia, up that way. If you're a child-based nonprofit, you can apply for grants, and they put in the grants why they need the money, what they're going to do with it, and how it'll benefit their organization. And then the Speedway Children's Charity Board meets and decides, out of this money, how much they're going to allot to each charity. And I think they have so many. There's several that they have so many requests they can't do them all, but they still give out between $600,000 and $750,000. So it's still a great thing. So tonight is the night. What they'll do is they call each individual organization up and they hand them a check, and everybody's crying and smiling, and it's Claudia Bird's best day of the year. It's her happiest day of the year, and she cries every single year she does it.
And then what will happen at that point, tonight's the Night of Smiles, and this will end the fundraising efforts for this year. And then tomorrow night starts a brand new year of fundraising with the opening tomorrow night of the 21st annual Pinnacle Speedway and Lights powered by TVA.
Yeah, I didn't even say that. That's where they get most of their money from, the Speedway and Lights. So
had over 200,000 folks go through the lights last year.
That was me.
I was there too. I was there a couple of times, as a matter of fact. Cannot beat it. Again, 4 miles. You kind of snake through the property, through the dragway and the speedway, and look at over 2 million lights. It's the #1 Christmas attraction in the South. And again, the monies raised here go to Speedway Children's Charities. And of course, as Andy's talking about, a big chunk of what happens every November with Claudia on the check presentation happens as a result of Speedway and Lights, which starts tomorrow night. So tonight is the culmination of this year. They wipe the slate clean, start tomorrow the brand new fundraising year, and so he's getting ready to go to that here in just a second. Mama's involved in it too.
Mama Haley's involved, and what I was going to tell you about Haley, she has her school, the Children Exceeding Expectations, which is a school for kids with cancer and autoimmune issues that they can go to a school that's at the Bristol Motor Speedway that Haley heads up, that meets twice a week during normal school weeks out of the year. And it's for kids that they're too sick and can't be around other kids because of the risk of infection. In regular schools, they can go here in a germ-free environment. Well, what happened was the school has been in operation for 6 years at the racetrack. It was probably about 8 years ago, I got a phone call here from a person who had a child that had cancer, and the child was so sick and going through treatments that the child couldn't go to school. They couldn't be around other kids their own age. And one of the things, the most favorite thing for this child, I think the child was either 4 or 5 at the time, their favorite thing to do was to go through the lights down at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And it does cost to go through the lights, and that's the money goes to this, so it goes back to the charities. Well, they called and said, do you think if there's any way we can call to maybe have a couple free extra passes, because my little boy likes going through it so much. And I called Jeff Bird. This is when Jeff was still alive, and Jeff goes, I'll do one better than that. I'll give him a season pass. He can come through it as many times as he wants.
Wow.
And that really resonated with Haley. And Haley's like, I can't believe there's not a place for these kids to go and interact with other kids or do something fun and do something safe. And that's what the idea of her school came about. And so because of that, and it was right after Jeff died of brain cancer, she went to Jerry and said, Jerry, I want to do this school, and here's my idea, and I want to have it at the racetrack. And Jerry goes, okay. And it's taken off, and she takes 50 kids every February to Disney World and their families. And So it's a great thing, but that's a little backstory to that.
And that's a great story. Exceeding expectations is the motto at Bristol Motor Speedway, and they do it again. And I've done it again tonight with the check presentation for, as we said, the Night of Smiles. Everybody smiles, and did the PR piece for them, and over the last 20 years raised over $12 million. I mean, that is a chunk of change, needless to say. If you took that out of the nonprofits' budgets across Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia, I dare say some of those would be closed now because they just can't. They really depend on this money from Speedway Children's Charities, and so it's a big deal. It's a special night, and I'd love to get up there. I don't know if I can pull it off now, but I'd love to get up there and see just a little bit of it. But again, he'll be there, and he'll give us a report about it next week when we're here next Friday, again with the Night of Smiles. And again, as we said, tomorrow night Speedway and Light starts, and also the ice skating rink brought to you by HVAC. So all that starts tomorrow night at Bristol Motor Speedway. So buy a ticket and change a life. Here's yet another chance to champion for the 11th year in a row. They've given away or are giving away a vehicle for some lucky person at this gala. Tell me about it.
Well, back up just a little bit. Part of this car giveaway thing, they did a tally in 11 years. A couple of the years there, probably 3 or 4 of them, we did a choice of $25,000 cash or win a free car. If you won, you had your choice. But we would rather do the car, even though the car is more expensive, because every car that we're giving away is somewhere between $35,000 and $45,000. And so we decided we were just going to do the car thing. But over the 11 years, well, this will be the 11th year. Over the 10 years we've done it, we've given away 6 cars and $100,000 in cash. And
wow.
The proceeds, which you make, the hospital makes more of the raffle tickets, versus what the car value is, and it's the benefit of it over 10 years is a little over, I think, $1.1 million that the proceeds from the raffle ticket sales has gone back to Niswangers Children's Hospital or pediatric oncology.
I'm writing this down. The raffle ticket proceeds is $1.1 million.
Yes, over 10 years.
Over the 10 years.
Yeah.
And then you said 6.
And our part has been, and that's from the proceeds of raffle tickets, and it's been 6 cars and given away for free and $100,000 in cash, because we had several years in there we just did the somebody selected the cash instead of the car. So that's what if everybody wants to know that's what it equaled out to be, and that's why it's so important to us. We can give away something of this that can raise so much more, 3-4 times the value of what we're giving away, and the money stays here, and the money goes into Niswangers Children's Hospital. So if your child does happen to get sick from whatever it is, sometimes if it is major, sometimes if we didn't have that, the kid would have to go to Nashville or Memphis or Cincinnati or Atlanta and split up a family. Here, that's why it's so important to us. We want to keep the families here, keep them together, especially this time of year too. It's so important to keep families together over the holidays. So that's why it's such a big thing for us to do.
Well, and I said earlier in the show today, I don't think you were around at that point, but I know a young man right now, a little feller, doesn't really matter who he is, but he has been his 9th day again in the ICU at Niswanger Children's Hospital. So we have been firing up prayers for the little guy. But again, talking to Tiffany earlier today on the sports show, who's from the Mountain States Foundation, I said, where would he go if you didn't have the Niswanger Children's Hospital? She said, closest kids hospital would be in Knoxville. I said, well, imagine the financial burden driving back and forth and being down there for 9 days and a hotel and separation from your kids. And so this is going on as we speak. A little guy here in the Tri-Cities. So it is filling definitely need the Niswanger Children's Hospital. You know what? We all sit here and think we may never need that hospital, but we don't know what's around the corner. We may need it.
No one has to
hope
use
no
it.
one has to.
Oh.
But if you do, it's there.
It is.
So,
my son stayed up there a couple nights, and it is phenomenal. The facilities are top notch. The people are top notch. They're kind. They're caring. They're loving. We even they had one of the ladies came in with a dog in our room, one of these therapy dogs, with Hudson when he was only 2 years old, and he's 8 now. He still talks about this dog that came and saw him in the hospital room when he's 2 years old.
That's cool. Real cool. $50 tickets. You can buy them right here at the showroom at Champion. 100% goes to this great cause. And the 3 vehicles you can win that'll toss you the keys and say congratulations are the options of 3. Number 1 is
2018 Chevrolet Traverse, the 2017 2017 Chevrolet Silverado or 2018 Cadillac ATS. And if you don't win one of those three, they're going to have 3 more drawings for $2,500 in cash, $1,500 in cash, and $1,000 in cash. You win the car, it's yours forever. It's not a lease. It's no gimmicks to it. It's yours. You pick out one of those 3 if you're the grand prize.
There you go.
It's that easy.
It's just that easy. Get them right here until the gala's January 27th. 70 days from today, we did the countdown.
And if you do not have to be present to win. If you cannot make it here to the dealership and buy them, you're stuck at home. MSHAFoundation.org. That's MSHAFoundation.org. You can buy them online. They sell them in the gift shops at 2 hospitals that I know of, the John C. Medicine and Franklin Woods. They sell them there if you just buy there. So it's a great cause. It's 4,000 tickets are printed, great odds of winning, and 100% of the proceeds go to Niswangers.
You've got 1 minute before he gets out of here. GM pricing, employee pricing through the end of November.
Yeah, on most 2017s there is GM employee pricing on that. GM employee pricing is the same pricing that if you work for General Motors or if you work for General Motors corporate, if you worked in factory General Motors corporate, it's the cheapest or least expensive price you can buy a new vehicle. And that we were talking at the earlier show, I think it's either been offered in my 11 years here either 4 times or 5 times over 11 years. So it's not a, oh, I know in November next year they're going to offer it. It's very rare. And we have a lot of the cars, new 2017 cars, we do have 20% off of those or 0% for 72 months. It's either or. So there's great deals out there to be had, and I'm going to go see them give some money away now.
Yep, get to Bristol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, good man right there. We'll take a break. We'll finish out our top 25 picks. Also, Kevin Harmon comes at the bottom of the hour. Andy, would you please page old Wycombe up there, Wycombe McCall? Please, sir, and we'll take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll carry on with the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show on this Thursday from Champion Chevrolet in Johnson City.
At American Import Auto Repair in Johnson City, one of the 8 areas of your vehicle that takes constant continuing education is the air conditioner on your vehicle.
Well, you would think that AC would be a simple one, but it's getting to be a lot bigger than just AC. It's the management of the system, not just AC, but heat and everything. It's a lot more computer controlled than it used to be. It used to be just a little button on the dash that you pushed. Now there's all kinds of electronics involved in that. Braking systems used to be fairly simple. Now some of the newer vehicles you have to have a computer to actually operate the braking system to make sure that it's okay after you've worked on it. Computer controlled of the engine is becoming very important. There's a lot to that. Each one of these areas, the technology is just tripled and quadrupled in the last few years. It's hard to keep up. You really need to stay in the books and know what's going on with them.
American Import Auto Repair, Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111. Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
It's Friday night at 7 o'clock. You've been involved in a car accident. You may be out of state on vacation or just a few miles from home. What do you do? Who do you call? At Farmers Insurance Group, one call is all you have to make. Hello, this is Jim Klein, an agent with Farmers Insurance. It's called One and Done. You don't have to wait till Monday morning to file a claim. You can make the initial call and we'll begin right away to help you. We assist you in moving the vehicle to a certified repair shop, getting you set up with rental car, and informing your agent. Then here the staff at Jim Klein Farmers Insurance, we follow the claim through to the end. It's that easy. One and Done. We're your one and done location for all your insurance needs. Auto, home, life, commercial, workers' comp, and bonds. We can help you with all your insurance needs. Give me a call today, Jim Klein Farmers Insurance at 247-5400, your one and done location in Kingsport, 247-5400.
Now available Chick-fil-A, the Crossings in North Johnson City. The Hash Brown Scramble, the first breakfast bowl with Chick-fil-A. The Hash Brown Scramble, a hearty breakfast option made with Chick-fil-A's signature tot-style hash browns, scrambled eggs, a Monterey Jack and cheddar cheese blend, and a choice of sliced Chick-fil-A nuggets or sausage. Served with jalapeno salsa, the scramble can be enjoyed in a bowl or as a burrito. The Hash Brown Scramble Bowl, 30 grams of protein when made with nuggets. The bowl and burrito start at $3.49. Served until 10:30 every morning, Monday through Saturday. The Hash Brown Scramble or burrito, again at Chick-fil-A, the Crossings in North Johnson City.
We're back on the chapter. No wonder we didn't have a fence. These guys are a piece of work.
I'll tell a good story on him when we
Pig, go ahead and tell us what's the name of the segment. I don't know why I think that's funny because he's slamming me and you.
I know, it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You have to know this guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, Pig's nicin'. So
Nicen's right.
Yeah, he's a nicin'. Oh, he's a nicin'. You know, as soon as you come over here, they all kind of, it's like cattle. They all kind of come over here. You got Bob. Who else is over there?
That's Bob and Randy.
Yeah.
And this is my crew.
This is the crew?
Yeah.
This is the all-star team?
Bob was a star baseball player at Union College 45 years ago.
They didn't have a fence.
They didn't have a fence.
It's so long ago they didn't have a
I
fence.
have to tell you the story about having to run through. If they got over the creek, it was a home run. But listen, if you could get to the ball before he got to second base and got it to the infield, you could stop the play. So you could even stop a home run at Union College 45 years ago. Yeah, tobacco sticks for bats. They had seed bags for baits.
Oh, yeah. I remember Coach Ritz. He could hit a long way, but he wasn't very fast.
Bob said they stopped him at third base on that one, and they had to go through the creek before they got the ball. I know this story as well as he does. I've known him for like 10 years. He tells it once a week.
You've heard it?
Yeah, I love it. But we make him tell it. We really do.
Now, he's not here now.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and throw off on Andy a little bit because he's been. Hey, Tim, we're coming to your defense now. Andy's gone, so he's been really cocky because he's won 3 out of the last 4 weeks.
You know, you always had a kid in your 4th grade class that when everybody went by, you just kind of punched him in the head or flipped his ear or knocked him down in the hall.
Tripped him.
You know, and you didn't even have to be a bully to do this. You just did it to that certain one kid. Andy was that kid.
Yeah, Andy's that kid.
There's no doubt he was that kid.
You just want to flip him or trip him?
Even today. I mean, if I see him going to lunch, I want to trip him when he's going. And that's terrible to say.
Steal his sack lunch in the cafeteria.
Oh, yeah. I take his milk money once a week.
Took his milk?
To this day. I don't even consider myself a bully. It's just like it's something you have to do. It's something you have to do to the guy.
Took Andy's milk money. You're right. There's always one of those guys.
Always one of those kids. He's that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
You just want to slam a locker in his face?
Yeah. I mean, if we had a locker here, I'd put him in it. I'd put him in it.
Oh.
But he should have been here if he didn't want me to talk bad about him.
Tell you, when he asked him about those champion cookies today, I thought, man, he said, you want one of those champion chocolate chip cookies, Tom? Oh.
I really thought that this would end up in a fist fight before the year was over.
Well, it's not over yet.
And I might, I'm not a person that likes to start trouble.
No.
But possibly I might have to work that a little bit.
I don't think it'd take much.
I might have to work that.
Because Andy's pushing the envelope. Yes.
I might have to see that.
Yeah, that'd be good stuff.
Yes,
so, all right, the Hokies.
They won big Saturday.
Yeah, they wore out Georgia Tech.
It was like 78-5.
That's it. Yeah.
Don't go back on your score guide on DirecTV and look at that.
That's called hallucinations. What that's called. So,
it was a rough night for Tech. It was the first time all year that the fans have really got on Fuentes.
Oh, really?
I mean, just some of the boards I read at the beginning of the week about his play calling at the end. You know, everybody has their own judgments.
Right.
We're all great armchair quarterbacks, but that's really the first criticism I've heard of the man, to be honest with you. But
was it justified?
They're going for the win.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do in a situation like that? They thought that they had something open that would work, and it just didn't work. So that all coaching's coaching.
So for those out there who don't know what you're talking about, what was the situation?
The last play at the end of the game, you know, everybody thought they should have just ran the ball a little bit. Maybe.
Oh, where were they?
They were down close, right? Or no, where were they on that? I've lost
I didn't
my
see
mind.
the game.
I did too. I saw it. I watched the
I didn't see it, so I'm hanging with you.
I watched the end of it. But at the end of the game, they had a chance to come back. You know, Tech was ahead with just a few minutes left, and Georgia Tech scored, and then they were going back down. And there were some questionable plays. They were down close, and Tech had a chance to. They thought maybe just muscle it in. They'd run the ball pretty good all day, and they didn't do that. They went for maybe the quick score, the quick win, and
backfired.
Just didn't work for them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know that there was anything wrong with that. I mean, that's football. They thought something was there and it wasn't there. But even with that, a lot more rumblings about Coach moving on this week. I've heard a lot of that too.
Really?
I really have. It's a whole lot of that. I hope that's not. I hope that's just talk and it's just chatter by dummies like me who like to type it in and talk about it. A lot of brave souls when you don't have to see them, right? So they'll say anything, but we don't know what's going on there.
7-3 the Hokies. They've lost to some pretty good teams, obviously, and of course they will entertain the Pitt Panthers 4-6 coming up at 12:20 on Saturday at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, and of course the Commonwealth Cup game next Saturday. It's not going to be easy. They're going to go to either a 7-4 Virginia or a 6-5 Virginia, depending on what they do. Coming up later on this weekend when they take their show on the road down to Miami. But the Pitt Panthers 4-6. You know, Dave and I were talking about this a few minutes ago. It's a dangerous, got nothing to lose, everything to gain 4-6 Pitt football team. So the Hokies can't be still thinking about Georgia Tech. They got to be ready.
You better be right. They've got to be ready. Pitt always plays Tech hard, and it seems like every year it seems that Tech's supposed to beat Pitt. It doesn't work out that way. So it's a scary game for anybody that's a big Tech fan because we've seen it happen time and time again. Pitt's not got a terrible defense. I mean, they've given up some points this year, had some close games, but they're not bad. I don't think they match up bad with Tech as far as their offense. They've got two really pretty good corners out there, and if they can contain Cam Phillips and Savoy, it's going to be a pretty good day for them. Run-wise, Tech should be able to move the ball on them. I hope so. So we're just going to see how it pans out Saturday.
Yep. We, of course, are they still can they still get in the ACC championship? I guess they can, can't they?
No,
they cannot.
That championship's locked up.
It's gone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's gone. They're out for this year in the ACC championship.
Yes.
But now, Dave and I were talking a few minutes ago, too, from a recruiting standpoint. The big kid out of Union, the tight end, appears to be leaning towards Virginia Tech.
He sure does, and that's been the talk around Big Stone Gap. So, you know, everybody's talked about him going to Virginia Tech, and of course the McClung kid at Gate City going to Georgetown. That's been a big story too. So we've got some kids, local kids, that are having some success. We're excited for them. Everybody would love to see him go to Tech down here because you have a big Tech fan base. And you hear all those others. We'd heard Clemson forever, but the staff at Tech has really seemed to gone all out on trying to get this kid.
I can see him going to Tech. I don't see McClung going to Georgetown. Now, Tim and I talked about this earlier, but from an academic standpoint, it's a great move for the McClung kid because Georgetown's a great academic school. From a basketball school, I don't know whether Tennessee has been on this kid or Virginia Tech's been on this kid. I guess they have. I would assume so. Yeah. But Georgetown's kind of a left field pick for me. I mean, typically you see him go. I don't see him going to Georgetown, but I know the kid from what was the kid's name? Went from Science Hill, went up there and played. Yeah, Omar Batad. Thank you. Omar Batad went up there and had a pretty good career for Georgetown. So Patrick Ewing's there now, the new head coach. But anyway, McClung from Gate City has said he wants to be a Georgetown Hoya, and Mitchell wants to be a Virginia Tech Hokie. So that would be huge for him because he's got the big boys. The big boys.
That's right.
The Alabamas, the Georgias. He's got all of them up there beating his door down. So
it'd be a great hook for Tech to set for sure.
So keys to win this thing again. 12:20 kickoff on Saturday. Hokies trying to get to 8-3. If they win next week, be 9-3. Losing some pretty good teams along the way. So what's the keys for the Hokies to win on Saturday?
Play hard Hokie football. Run hard. I think as long as they can get their run game established, and every time Tech's won this year, they've got their run game established. They should be able to do that Saturday. So the homer again, I'm going with them.
Hokie.
35-7.
35-7
right.
Hokies.
Hokies.
All right.
And high.
Hokie high.
That's right.
How's our boy doing in Bluefield?
They're done. Finished up the season 6-5. First winning season for Bluefield in 75 years.
Wow.
So that's a big deal, right?
He'll be the new UT coach.
Oh, buddy, I've told him he's going to be on every billboard between Bluefield and Roanoke. But
first winning team in 75 years. He'll be taking Jimbo Fisher's place or something.
I would say that they're going to lock him up with one of those 10-year contracts.
Yeah.
I think Dewey would like to stay there too. That's a small school, which is what he likes. And I think that they would like him to stay there. I mean, it's been very successful right here from the get-go for him. So I'm hoping that he can have one of those Lou Whacker type careers.
Anybody wins a game, they're moving them on. Anybody loses a game, just like you said, Justin Fuente, look what he's done for the Tech program since Beamer left, and now they're on him.
They've been great. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
God, it's got to be the most, they say deadliest catch. That's the crab fisherman's the deadliest job in America. The most stressful has got to be Division I football coach. I don't care what they say.
See, and I go back to the same thing, and nobody can convince me otherwise, why John Gruden will come out of the broadcast booth to put up with the fan base and the recruiting and everything. This guy's making a boatload of money just being an expert, quote unquote,
That's
on
true.
On college football. Why would I don't know.
I mean,
I would never give that up.
Everybody that knows me knows I'm not a humongous Tennessee fan. If they could land Gruden, I'd almost have to be a Tennessee fan because I love John Gruden. And I think I saw him coach when he was coaching at Tampa Bay. I went to a summer practice at Disney World they had back, and this was in the mid-'90s, I guess. It was the year after they won the Super Bowl because Thomas Jones was on the team that year. But we were down at camp. That was when Warren Sapp and all those, and Keyshawn Johnson all played for him too. And I absolutely fell in love with John Gruden at camp that day. I thought he was awesome, man. I stood there. He was the funniest coach, and seemed like he got more out of those guys for doing that and being that way. I'd never heard coaches act like he acted. Of course, that was pro football, and I hadn't been around that either. But you can tell how much he loves the game and how smart he is. But I can't imagine him quitting doing what he's doing now either to get in that pressure cooker.
Especially in the SEC, especially in Tennessee, where you have got to make him make a good pick this time out. You've had Kiffin and Dooley and now Butch Jones, and so you have got to make this next one count and stick and be a good pick. And it won't be long, I promise you. Whoever gets down there, if they don't make an instant success, what did we hire him for? And it would be John Gruden won't get any free pass anybody. It'll be on him too.
They'll name the next sewage station after him, I guess.
He's awesome.
It is. You're the man, Tom. Enjoyed this. Had a great time.
Yeah, we got one more show on the 30th, and that way we'll know who's really going where as far as the bowl games.
Yeah.
Again, reminding you that starting after the Monday after Thanksgiving, we'll give you a chance to win tickets to the Peach Bowl down in Atlanta. And we'll give those away on December the 20th at Chick-fil-A, the Crossings in North Johnson City. So that's one of the Final Four. That's one of the big bowl games. And so the Peach Bowl and the playoffs, and we'll give those tickets away, and we'll give you a chance to do that. And we're going to give them away on December the 20th on our show from Chick-fil-A. Hokie.
Hi.
There you go. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. We're live here at Champion Chevrolet on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City takes care of both male and female customers, but owner Kim Smith says they have a special care and concern for ladies.
Being a female in what's considered a man's business, I understand the trepidation that women may have when they come to the shop. They feel like they don't know about cars, they might be intimidated, but that's not the way we do business. Everybody's treated the same. We take the time to explain anything that they have questions about, the repair, the process, the part. We want to make sure people are comfortable with what we're going to do to their vehicle and that they understand. We do cater to women in a sense. We have a real nice waiting room with nice Keurig coffee and flavored creamers, air-conditioned, cushioned seats, TV, everything a girl could want while she waits for her car to be fixed.
American Import Auto Repair in Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111.
Do you need an event catered? At Phil's Dream Pit, we cater for gatherings over 50 people. Weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, company picnics, sporting banquets, to name a few. We can set up, clean up, and of course serve. We also offer value packs that include all the food. You pick that up and serve it yourself. Check out our webpage at philsdreampit.com. That's philsdreampit.com. Phil's Dream Pit, Eastern Star exit on I-26, open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we're a phone call away at 423-349-6437, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
If you're catching some waves or just playing in the yard, it is important to protect yourself. You may not feel the sun's heat, but UV rays can still damage your skin even in cloudy weather. Blue Lizard Sunscreen, recommended by pharmacists and dermatologists nationwide. Our SPF 30-plus formulations use only the highest quality ingredients for broad spectrum protection. As a reminder to protect yourself, our bottle turns blue when UV light is present. Blue Lizard, we've got you covered.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
Back with the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show inside the studio, inside the showroom here at Champion Chevrolet. ChampionJC.com is where you want to call and or not call, but go to. You can shop 24/7 there on the net. You can see the car. I think it's like 15 to 20 pictures of every car that's on there. You can see the price. You can actually get qualified. You can put in a financial application as far as getting bought. All that's a turnkey opportunity at ChampionJC.com. And then you can come in here. Really, the only thing you have to do to come in person is come in and sign the papers, and they'll give you the keys and go through that. Everything else can be done over the internet. ChampionJC.com, 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can go right there and check it out again on ChampionJC.com, and folks do that all the time. That's how I found my car. Got on there and checked out all the different options and went into the kind of car I wanted, the price range I wanted to pay. And so it popped up, I think, 4 or 5 different opportunities, particularly in the price range I was looking for. And I went down and started scoping them out and doing some checking, and voila, I'm driving it now 14 months later. The other thing, too, is the previous ownership of this particular vehicle, or any vehicle. They give you a history of the car as soon as you walk in, or once you get to that point. You don't have to go call and talk to Jim Bob or Leroy and say, man, tell me about your car. They have a printout of the owner history of this particular vehicle that you'd be looking at. So you know right away the history of the car or the truck or whatever you're trying to buy, and I mean, you really can't go wrong. They don't even wait for you to ask. They say, by the way, here's what more to say, owner's history. What's the magic word?
The history of the car. They might use Carfax for that.
Carfax, yeah.
You get a vehicle history report and all that. It'll keep you from getting in the predicament Barney Fife got in when he bought his first car. And
yeah,
you remember that one?
Spade. No.
No,
you're talking about the car with the goo coming out of the steering wheel.
Yeah. You know, a lot of funny stuff could happen out there. So you want to know the history of that vehicle because, you know, anything could happen to that thing before you buy it. So,
I remember that. They were all sitting there, and all of a sudden the steering wheel popped off, and the goo started coming up through the steering wheel.
Yeah, the steering column starts coming toward his nose. Guys, his eyes are as big as saucers, and yeah, it was they wound up putting I forget what it was, but yeah, people can do things with cars, man. So it's always good to have the history of your vehicle so you know what you're buying.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm getting at there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you'll do. You'll get a vehicle history as soon as you sit down and say, I'm very interested in this particular vehicle or vehicles, and they can help you with that. All right, let's continue the top 25 college football. 9th-ranked Notre Dame, 8-2, hosting the Navy Midshipmen, 6-3, 3:30 kickoff on Saturday. We got down halfway through the list, and then Andy had to jump in and talk before he took off to the Night of Smiles. Notre Dame or Navy coming up in South Bend on Saturday?
I'll tell you, Notre Dame last week, man, they got kicked around. That surprised me that happened to them. That showed me where Miami's at, and really, you know, Notre Dame, that threw me for a loop there. I think they have enough to beat Navy. I don't think Navy's going to beat them, but again, how do they respond? This is a team that was riding a pretty good wave there. You know, they had a rough season last year, and they built up a lot of confidence. That's kind of been crushed a little bit. So how do they look if Cohen gets tough against Navy? That'll be fun to watch.
Yep. 3rd-ranked Oklahoma, the Boomer Sooner, 9-1 at Kansas, 1-9. That's a conference game. It'll be a blowout. Kansas. There is talk that Butch Jones will go there and be their new head football coach. If you're an athletic director, do you hire Butch Jones?
I would say at Kansas, because at Kansas they have no bricks. 0 bricks right now at Kansas. They don't have much to work with at all. You know, so now Butch Jones could go to a place like that. He'd be given some patience. He'd be given time. He's shown that he can recruit. You know, and anything is better than what they've done for the last, 20 years or maybe ever. You know, they haven't had much football-wise. I remember mid-'90s they had a good team or two, but it was fleeting. So that's a place he can go. He can land. He can start a rebuilding project. So we'll see. But it's going to be a dismantling project on Saturday because Oklahoma's going to put it to them pretty good.
If you're a coach, you have an ego, obviously. Most coaches, in fact, we all have egos on how you throttle it. But if you're Butch Jones, do you go to a school that is clearly a basketball school, given Kansas success, national championships, Roy Williams, now Bill Self? You know, do you go, if you're a head coach, into a place where you know, you're a 1-9 football team?
And I will say, in fairness, Butch Jones came in from day one, and he was the hype man that built those expectations, and he kept talking about that season. This is a national championship. This is the season we're going to make a run at an SEC title. Then it didn't materialize. So, you know, I think it could be attractive, a school like Kansas, where the basketball team is going to do well. If you get anything out of the football team, if the football team's going to bowl games, you're happy with it. The fans are happy with it. If he can get them up to 6 wins, you know, he's going to be a hero in Lawrence, Kansas. You know, as opposed to 6 wins at Tennessee where they're trying to put for sale signs in his yard, run him out of town. Different set of expectations. I think that could be attractive to him at this point in his career, and I think he could do good things at Kansas. I think that's a good level for him.
Of course, this is all very much premature, but the buzz is Kansas is looking very heavily at hiring Butch Jones, but there's no official word on that, and that's not urban legend or whatever. I mean, there is some rumblings out there about hiring this guy for sure. Ohio State, 8th-ranked Buckeyes, 8-2 at home in the shoe on Saturday, 3:30 kickoff against the Fighting Illini of Illinois. It's 2-8, Buckeyes all the way.
I think so, but man, you know, and of course Illinois is just terrible, so we don't even need to talk about this as a competitive game. Ohio State will run away pretty good and win this one. But what on earth happened to Ohio State where they give up 55 to Iowa? Iowa is not an offensive juggernaut at all. You know, they beat Minnesota by 7 points, and Minnesota's not a very good football team. Then they turn around the next week against Ohio State and score 55. That's crazy to me. So then Ohio State bounces back from that by just dismantling Michigan State. You know, beating them, what did it wind up being, 48-3 or whatever it was, but they could have named the score. They were up so much at halftime. So kind of a tale of two teams there with Ohio State. Hard to say which one's going to show up from one week to the next, but either Ohio State team is capable of beating Illinois this week.
22nd ranked Michigan State, 7-3, hosting the Maryland Terrapins at 4-6. It's a 4:00 game on Saturday in Lansing, Michigan. Of course, home of the Spartans. No problem for Michigan State here.
Well, it's hard to say. Again, I mean, Maryland, I think, is starting to put some things together offensively, which might allow them to hang around and be in this football game. The one thing that's hurt Maryland more than anything, people forget they put up 50 points on Texas and got a win in week 1, but they're on their fourth-string quarterback, fourth or fifth string, because they've had so many guys injured. I think the quarterback that played last week against Michigan really showed some things. I think they're starting to kind of get some things going on offense, which could make the game interesting, especially against a Michigan State team that right now has to be doing some soul searching after losing as badly as they lost last week. So could be competitive, but I think either way, Sparty has enough to get it done and get a win there.
15th ranked Oklahoma State against Kansas State. By the way, hello to Jennifer Johnson and Jerry Keller and Renee McNeil. Some of the folks watching tonight, we appreciate that. 15th ranked Oklahoma State, the Cowboys 8-2, hosting the K-State, Coach Snyder-led Kansas State Wildcats. 5-5 is their record. What do you think?
I'm going with the mullet all the way in this one. Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
Gundy, I'm telling you, this guy, I like him as a football coach. And I think the time might be coming when Gundy might be going to take another job. And it's going to be interesting to see where that guy lands. I think he's winning a lot of games there, but I think his welcome might be wearing out a little bit because they don't ever seem to take the step to the next level. And I think he might be a guy who's looking, and it'll be fun to see where he lands.
3 or 4 more. Again, you got actually 3 more. 13th ranked Penn State, 8-2 back home to take on the Cornhuskers at 4-6. Is this a game that could really help Mike Riley in Nebraska, or is it going to be a Penn State win?
It would really help Mike Riley if they had any chance in the world of winning it, but I don't think they can muster enough offense. I think Barkley, McSorley, those guys going to score too many points, and could be a big Penn State win there.
We've already talked about the North Carolina State Wake Forest game and Southern Cal UCLA on the picking panel. We've got 2 more of those to pick, by the way. 16th ranked Washington, the Huskies hosting the Utah Utes. Huskies at 8-2. The Utes are 5-5.
I'm going to tell you this: the Utes win this game. I think Washington really underperformed last week, and that was a bad loss for them. And Utah is the type of tough physical team. I'd put them in the same boat. You were talking with Chris about Pittsburgh, a team that's no fun to play and can really jump up and get people. And I think Utah this week is going to jump up and get a Washington team that's hurting right now a little bit after a bad loss last week.
Last one is the 21st ranked LSU Bayou Bengals in Knoxville Saturday night, 7 o'clock kickoff against Tennessee, 4-6. Tigers or Tennessee?
I'll tell you this: I expect Tennessee to play an inspired football game this week, and I'm on the fence. I would almost pick them. I'm almost to the point of picking them to win the game. I don't know what you think on it. Tennessee has a lot of injuries. I think you're going to see a better effort from Tennessee this week. I don't know if they have enough to get it done. What's your thought on LSU Tennessee?
LSU, again, Ed Orgeron to the folks coming in here with a head of steam, of course, with a big, they came off a big win.
They got a win over Auburn.
They came off, LSU last week, defeated Arkansas.
They did?
Yep, and so that would give them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. Let's see, am I right? They already got 7 wins. I'm sorry, they're 7-3. Tennessee's 4-6. Orgeron, what they've got left after this one would be Texas A&M next week in Baton Rouge. I don't think they'll be caught looking ahead. Tennessee will play a better football game because, as we said at the outset of the show, the black clouds off of the program for the time being. The kids can just go out and play and not keep getting questioned when he's going to quit or when he's going to get fired and so on and so forth. They can just focus, I would think, on X's and O's under Brady Hoke. Do they have enough to beat LSU? I don't think so. But
I don't either. I think it's going to be a very close football game.
Yeah.
But I think it's if there's any victories for Tennessee, it'll be a moral victory in that game there. I think LSU gets it done.
And the last one on the picking panel, East Tennessee State on the road at Chattanooga. We heard Joe talk about it earlier in the show, previewing it from Joe Avento of the Johnson City Press. Bucks or Mocs down in Mockland on Saturday? What do you think?
I'll tell you this about ETSU. In the short time the program's been back, and this includes the Samford game last year, ETSU late in the season has a knack for going out on a high note, and I think that they've got an excellent chance to go down there and beat a Chattanooga team that's still looking for its offensive identity. I think there's a lot on the line for ETSU. I think they're disappointed with the way they played last week. I can't see them playing bad or that badly 2 weeks in a row, and I think it'll be enough to beat Chattanooga in the beginning of what's going to be a heated rivalry between these two football programs once ETSU has a few more recruiting cycles to kind of get caught back up. But I think the Bucks get it done. They pull the upset. They go down there and get the win. 2-7 Chattanooga.
Yep. Yeah, man, they really dropped off.
Working on their third quarterback.
Yeah, they're really taking a slide. Bucks again showing improvement every week.
Last week they went backwards a little bit. They turned it over, but my argument to you would be they got it out of their system. I don't know if you agree with that or not. I don't think they're going to play that badly again this week. I think they get it done. That'd be a big win for them.
Switching gears, men's basketball team at Kentucky tomorrow night, a young team, a team that's kind of trying to find themselves. Of course, Calipari have them ready by the tournament. But is there a chance the Bucks can get up here tomorrow night at Rupp Arena and pull off the upset?
There's a chance. Like Joe was saying during his segment, Vermont only lost by 4 points to Kentucky. And Calipari was talking today about how he's got to change the way he coaches these kids because he's got 8 freshmen on this team, and I think all 5 of them started against Kansas. They gave Kansas a game, but there's just offensively the continuity is not quite there. What'll have to happen, it'll have to look a lot like the time ETSU beat Arizona in the tournament. If you remember how big that Arizona team was with Sean Rooks and just all those. Damon Stoudemire was on that team, but ETSU hit them with a barrage of 3-point shots early and was able to keep hitting from the perimeter and able to win that ball game as a result. ETSU will have to go in there and shoot the ball extremely well in order to pull the upset. I see that as their only path to doing it. I don't think they've shown in their first couple games that they're at that level, but I agree with Joe. This is the time you want to catch Kentucky before they figure it out, because by March they could be a really scary basketball team.
Take a quick break and close this thing out. We're live again at Champion Chevrolet inside the studio, inside the showroom in the Bristol Highway Motor Mile, Johnson City. Of course, they're closed now at 7 o'clock each and every night. And again, they're open on Saturdays, closed on Sundays, of course. And we'll come back and wrap this thing up right after this quick timeout. Again, from Champion Chevrolet, you're listening to the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview. Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
It's model year closeout with gym employee pricing and 20% off on 17 models at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City. It's a great time to take advantage of closeout savings on our selection of over 300 Chevys to choose from. 17 1500 work truck, $23,995. 17 track, $17,548. 17 cruise, $16,488. 17 spark, $10,950. 17 Malibu, $18,985. Closeout savings, Saturday parts and service hours, and shopping online 24/7 will leave you asking, how do they do that?
Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue. Do you like pulled pork? At Phil's, the pulled pork is cooked low and slow. We cook it all night, but we serve it fast. Our pulled pork is hickory smoked, tender and juicy. We serve the pork either as a sandwich on a bun or platter style with garlic toast. And don't forget to try our pork wings. They taste like a cross between ham and our sweet ribs. It comes as a meal, as an add-on, or part of our meat sampler platters. Pulled pork and pork wings. Just 2 great reasons to stop by Phil's Dream Pit. Eastern Star exit off I-26, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at fca.org.
Back with the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. We got him on the phone. Let's go live with him. Kevin Harmon, our UT Sports Update guy, UT Football Update guy. And, whoo, it's like a big soap opera in Knoxville. What is going on right now? What's the very latest on the Tennessee football head coaching search?
Well, what I really know, what you can really report is that they are searching. And there's all kinds of rumors and smoke and clues and everything out there. People are chasing airplanes and making speculations. But what I can gather is that they've made their pitch to John Gruden, and he has X amount of time to say yay or nay, and that there's been some other coaches like Dan Mullen who have reached out to Tennessee and expressed an interest in the job, which is very intriguing to me. So there's a lot out there, but very little is known. Curry has done a very good job of keeping this thing centered with what he's doing and without springing a lot of leaks like with last time. I think people are reading into stuff and seeing stuff, making assumptions and then going with it. Next thing you know, it's a full-blown rumor. Gruden's in Knoxville. He's here. He's there. He's getting ready. He already has signed. They're going to announce for the LSU game. They're going to announce for the Vanderbilt game. So nobody really knows except John Curry. He's not talking. But I have a pretty good source that Dan Mullen has reached out to him to try to get the job. So I think that's a very positive sign. A lot of good coaches have reached out. Tennessee's a much more attractive job. They can talk about Butch Jones all they want, but he left this program in pretty good shape.
Well, again, I'm hearing now that he's being offered or being courted by Kansas, who's looking for a coach. And, John Curry came from Kansas, so he may be able to help him out there, because if Jones goes there somewhere else, that alleviates or certainly minimizes what they got to pay out in a buyout program if he takes another coaching position. So Butch Jones is apparently, what I'm hearing today, and it's pretty reliable sources, that Kansas is very interested. They're a 1-9 football team, and so good luck to Butch Jones. At the end of the day, he's still a human being. He's still a man. He's still a dad. He's still a husband. So the guy's not pond scum because he didn't win football games. He's still a human being. So I wish him the very, very best. So we'll see. But Gruden, do you think John Gruden? See, I heard today somebody told me at Chick-fil-A that he's already reached out to Jay Graham and T. Martin, and he's trying to assemble his coaching staff. And I don't know. You hear all this stuff, and then I talked to a guy today. He said, "Well, my wife works with a lady that knows him." Blah blah. And it's everybody knows somebody, but which to me it's just a bunch of hogwash. So at the end of the day, Kevin Harmon, do you think John Gruden A, wants the job, and B, will he take the job?
I think he's intrigued by it. Does he want it? I don't believe so.
I don't either.
He's never coached in college. There's a lot of rules in college that you don't have in the NFL. I believe that there's some NFL interest, and I believe Gruden will ultimately want to stay in the NFL. That's my feeling.
He's 95-81 as a head football coach. That's not a real sparkling record, and so say what you want. And, a guy told me the other day, he said, well, he's just so competitive, he wants to get back in coaching. I said, well, if he was that competitive to begin with, why did he get out and get in the broadcast booth? I can tell you why. Because they threw boatloads of money at him, and so the guy's become a cult hero, Chucky and John Gruden. So anyway, let's take him out of the equation. Let's go with somebody else. You mentioned Dan Mullen and John Gruden. Let's throw out some other names that you're hearing that could be possibilities to coach at Tennessee.
Well, you're still here. The big three I'm hearing are Fuente, Mike Norvell, and James Franklin. They seem to have some level of interest in this job. Don't know for sure, but boy, James Franklin would be a heck of a hire for Tennessee. I think Fuentes would be the second best of that group, and Norvell. To me, Norville's still kind of unproven. He's got a great quarterback. How's he going to do? We saw how Jones did when great quarterback left. I would be very interested in James Franklin. I could definitely bury the hatchet with what he said about Tennessee at Vanderbilt. And Fuentes would be intriguing. I just don't see him leaving Virginia Tech.
I don't either.
I don't know how much steam that has, but I have read that name several times.
I don't see why Fuentes would leave Virginia Tech, and tell me why James Franklin would leave Penn State. I mean, this guy's in the Big Ten, making a boatload of money, got a great recruiting base in the Northeast. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see James Franklin leaving Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, he's from there. He's from Central Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
That would be a shock to me, really, unless there's just something going on there that I don't know about. He's obviously turned that program around. He's had 2 bad losses here, but, they were on death's door. what happened with the Turner and Sandusky.
Yep.
And he's revived that and done a great job and got great players. Lost the defensive coordinator to Tennessee, and they flourished. So, it would be a shock to me, too. But that name is out there, and I'm hearing. Of course, you hear Frost and Kelly to Florida and all this stuff. But, I think the big one would be Mullen. I do believe that Mullen probably reached out. He wants out of Mississippi. You play second fiddle to that Mississippi. So you're Ole Miss if you're a Mississippi State. Ole Miss is the state school. I think it's land-grant school. So, you'll never, ever, get by that. Just like when Nick Saban was at Michigan State. Some of the reasons that he left was that he'll always play second fiddle to Michigan. But he didn't want that. So I believe Mullen, he could be the same, but I don't know.
We're talking to Kevin Harmon. I've heard Jimbo Fisher. I've heard Kevin Sumlin. So the carousel continues. We got 1 minute left here before we got to go, and of course they shut the dealership down here at 7 o'clock. So give me a 60-second synopsis of what's going to happen Saturday night. Can Tennessee under Brady Hoke come out here and knock off LSU?
Well, it's going to have to be a big emotional win. LSU's going to run the football. They got Darius Geis, and they're going to run right at Tennessee. Missouri ran all over us. I can't imagine LSU not doing that. Henling is not that great of a pocket presence. He needs to turn around and hand the ball off to Darius Geis. And if they do that, they have success. They're going to beat us pretty bad. They have a stout defense. If we can somehow stuff the run and make it pass, we might make it close. I see it as our 7th loss. So I'm hoping we're not. I don't want to lose that game. But I'm hoping that somehow the LSU lays an egg like they did against Troy. So maybe, but I just don't see it. Darius Geis, they're on a roll with him running the football. They wore out Arkansas, so I just don't see. I just don't see how Tennessee. I can't cut it enough to figure out a way Tennessee wins.
There you go. Kevin Harmon, Tennessee Football Update. Great report, my friend. I'll talk to you tomorrow, and have a great evening, all right?
All right, Tom Taylor.
Good man right there, buddy. Kevin Harmon. So there you go, Dave Angie. So he keeps hearing John Gruden, and Dan Mullen, apparently by his sources in Knoxville, has reached out to the Tennessee coaching or to the Tennessee athletic department and said, I want this job. I'm very interested. He says James Franklin. I don't see that at Penn State. I don't see Justin Fuente at Virginia Tech. I would see Jimbo Fisher before I saw those two guys, because I know they ain't happy in Tallahassee with him, but it all is purely speculation. So we got about 30 seconds to wrap this puppy up. What do you want to leave us with?
I'll tell you, it's going to be fun this week to watch Tennessee LSU. I think that's going to be kind of a fun game to see how Tennessee comes out and performs. I wish some of these other SEC teams were playing somebody this week. We got a lot of beatdowns on the schedule this week, but be some good football games in there as well.
Great job, my friend.
All right,
see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Happy Thanksgiving next Thursday to you and yours.
You too. You eat a piece of pumpkin pie for me.
Oh, baby. Appreciate this guy very much. He's become a good friend, and he's a pro at what he does here, not only here but in the News and Neighbor. Again, big thanks to Joe Avento giving us the East Tennessee State Chattanooga preview, Chris McCall previewing the Pitt Panthers and his Virginia Tech Hokies, Kevin Harmon with the Tennessee Football Update, and also we had our buddy Andy Dietrich on as well. Of course, to the co-host Dave Angie. Out of time, we sincerely thank you for yours. Back in the saddle tomorrow. We'll be at Food City on State of Franklin in North Johnson City, the Tom Taylor Sports Show. Like this and share it, please, and we would thank you ahead of time for that. And so for Tim Copenhaver and Andy Dietrich, co-owners of Champion Chevrolet, and my co-host here, Dave Angie, this is Tom Taylor telling you until we meet you tomorrow at 11 o'clock from Food City in North State of Franklin in Johnson City. Win or lose, be a good sport. So long, everybody.